Okay, okay. So this is going to be a bit of a short one. Um, I've now seen Mufasa twice. Once in 3D, which actually happened somewhat on accident because I looked up the showings I had at my disposal to go and watch it, but I just kind of went with the time that was most comfortable for me, and then when I was standing at the counter to get my ticket, the person behind it said like, yeah, and such, because the 3D you might want to have a seat that is a bit more, further up and not right in front of the screen. I was like, 3D? Oh shit, yeah, that isn't, never mind, might as well. And yeah, that was actually quite enjoyable, not to say actually somewhat mind-blowing in some of the more intense scenes. And yeah, but all of that comes with a few caveats. That is not to say that this is a bad movie. Far from it. I'll get to my second viewing in a good minute, but it has some flaws. Let's just go over the legit bad things. Let's say the things that kind of irked me the wrong way. Everybody else is already talking about that, but who gives a shit? Timon and Pumbaa were just kind of like annoying in the very first movie as well as in this movie. But as I mean, in the 1994 movie, they were also annoying, just like they are in this movie. They could just be fucking dialed down a bit. On the other hand, as the framing, there's like a framing for this story because it is told by Rafiki to Simba's daughter, Kiara, and yeah, these two are actually kind of nice. They always give you a moment to breathe when they're talking to one another. And Kiara is a very adorable lion cub, so you got something cute to look at after all the trauma the main characters are going through. Um, the main story is obviously about Mufasa and his adoptive brother, Scar, in this case. The change doesn't really irk me all that much, at least. It doesn't really matter too much. The point is that they have a very strong bond, and then that bond gets broken because of certain deeds. And something that I really like about this movie is that both Mufasa and Scar are not great people 100%. Mufasa has a very short temper, and that causes some trouble, and he's uh, somewhat more or less uh, responsible for a few problems arising in the movie. Meanwhile, Taka is far too cowardly in some situations where he should be more active, which is also what causes him to, not get the girl, for example, which he then blames his brother for, even though obviously his brother, being more proactive, kind of had a lot more to offer to uh, said girl. Said girl is then Sarabi, Simba's mother. Um, and I do believe that, in essence, these two and the way that the movie ends, these two characters and the way that the movie ends, Mufasa and Taka and Scar, then later on, they give you a bittersweet note to end on, because that some of this could have been avoided, but they only overcame their biggest weaknesses too late, and then it was too little too late when Scar tried to change sides again, to come back to more or less the light side. He had his Lex Luthor moment, he had his Anakin Skywalker moment, and he blew it. And from there on out, well, we know how the story ends, and I like that. I like characters that are doomed to become villains, even though you can see a good inside of them. There is something very gripping about this kind of storytelling. That's one of the reasons why Smallville was such a great show up until season 7, when they killed off Lex Luthor. Because you had someone who could have still been a good person, but they took not necessarily all the wrong turns, but the wrong turns required to become who they then were in the established lore, that is. Also, the music is fucking great. I can't get. I always wanted a brother, as well as We Go Together, and Bye Bye Out of My Head, because these are very catchy songs. Thanks again for that, Lin Manuel. And the visuals are fucking awesome. Like, seriously, go watch this thing in theaters. Even if you don't like it, you're gonna enjoy the visuals. I would almost even recommend watching it in 3D because of how fucking breathtaking some of that was. Which brings me to my second viewing, and my second viewing was while I was high off my ass. And no, I am not high off my ass. I'm just normal tired. I was doing my second viewing after I had eaten 3 wheat cookies, and I must have looked like the biggest asshole in the entire goddamn cinema because because I was just sitting there like throughout each and every scene. Sure, I was thinking about stuff and I was emotionally invested, but it doesn't really matter if there's like a scene in the movie where one of our main protagonists loses his entire pride. They're getting slaughtered viciously by Mads Mikkelsen's character off screen. And I'm just sitting there like... At some point, I had to remind myself that I should probably stop smiling just in case somebody is looking back at the projector or just looking back at the crowd, doing the whole fucking Le Fabuleux Destin d'Amélie thing of wanting to see the light of the theater projection being reflected in the viewer's eyes. But yeah, no, it was. I'm not sure if it was a good idea to do a second viewing of the movie while high. I got to think. I got thinking. I got to think about everything a bit more in depth while I was watching it high, as opposed to my first viewing where I was just completely invested in all the visuals and the great dramatic moments, which this movie has quite a lot of. Yeah, it's a good movie. Like, it can't really be a bad movie. It has too much going for it for that. It's the kind of movie that I can picture myself reviewing as I've been viewing again and again, every now and again, maybe like once half a year. Which brought me to the conclusion that this is a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. It does everything a normal movie needs to do, and beyond that, the fucking visuals already give it like one additional point. And there are lots of things, lots of people actually, lots of people who go like, "Oh my god, they should have just done a 2D movie." Yeah, sure, that would not have made money because 2D is not popular because of the general audiences. They stopped going to see 2D movies, and now 2D movies are the exception. And even they have to work in very stylized, styles to succeed. Just look at the Spider-Man, Spider-Verse movies. These are heavily stylized, and just normal 2D animated movies have a hard time breaking through unless we're talking about Studio Ghibli, and even then, it's not like they're making $1 billion out here. So yeah, shut the fuck up about this. And why on earth can't you enjoy the absolute magnificence of this almost... Ah, shit, I gotta sneeze. Absolute magnificence of this semi-realism, almost perfect realism in some... sucker blur. Fucking hell. In some of these scenes. Like, and they also... Okay, and let's just talk about that as well. They also made the lines more expressive. Woohoo! Now everybody can shut the fuck up about how... I don't even get why people were pissed about that in the first place. Maybe it's just like my thing that I like cats in general, and big cats. I like just like looking at lions because they're cool. Seeing a 5-year-old of me that just goes, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Lions are doing adventures that you normally would not see lions go on, and that's cool. That's kind of just like what this movie is and what the fucking remake of the original was. The original is fine and all, But like, I'm never in a million years gonna be like, wow, it's actually like I'm watching real lions. The original is a 2D animated movie. It's a cartoon. This is making me actually believe in fucking miracles because of just how realistic it looks. I fucking love it for that. But I don't get why people are so pissed about it. It seems almost as if they're pretentious. Like, yeah, man, we just like the artistry of the fucking 1994 movie because of depth and such. It's just like fucking Star Wars fans, the kind of, they go, oh yeah, man, the original trilogy is a masterpiece of cinema. Get fucked. Like, seriously, the original Star Wars trilogy was a fucking mess. They had one good movie in the middle, one mediocre right at the start, and the rest was just bullshit. Fucking hate these forced happy endings. That's also something this movie gets done a lot better. It just kind of gives you a bittersweet feeling at the end of like, yeah, they reached their promised land, but you know what? A bond was broken. They're never going to recover from that. And I think that's what makes this movie, in my opinion, a 7, maybe a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. Perfectly fine. Also, I'm never going to watch a fucking Sonic movie. The only thing that I think of when I think Sonic the Hedgehog is Christian Weston Chandler and what's the other thing? I don't know. That's actually all. It just seems like the least appealing mascot ever. And I'm not going to fucking participate in this fucking contest of two hyper-capitalist mega corporations using their fans as like a weird way of promoting their movie by claiming that it is somehow better than the other one, even though both movies are just made to make money. And coincidentally, either movie might have, some merit to it. Just the last thought. Because, like, once again, I really enjoyed Mufasa. I did. But if people really were out here talking about things needing to be more original, how come Dream Scenario, the Nicolas Cage movie from last year, didn't make $1 billion fucking dollars? Because that really is a relatively, well, it's not a pre-existing IP, that's for sure. It's based on like an urban legend, but nonetheless, it is a very good movie and very entertaining. How the fuck did that not make $1 billion dollars? It's always unoriginality. That has been the way since the fucking birth of cinema. We're not making original movies, and that's perfectly fine. I go to the cinema to be entertained first and foremost, and after that, you can still be original if you want to. And if your originality entertains me, that's also great. But if something unoriginal entertains me, it still entertains me. I'm not going to be a pretentious prick about it, saying, like, oh my God, I'm protesting against Disney because Disney is only the bad corporation. Yeah, they are assholes. They like morals there, sure. But so does every other big studio. Fucking hell, it's not like we have the high ground here. And let's just end this slightly rant-filled review with my personal truth. It has nothing to do with, Mufasa, but it has all to do with my personal preference in Star Wars movies, because as we all know, the original trilogy is the second best Star Wars trilogy, right behind the prequels, because the prequels actually were well thought out. And to just bring it back to Mufasa was not part of a pre-planned trilogy, quadrilogy, whatever, so it has no need to be lore accurate. It just doesn't. But the prequels did. And the prequels were fucking amazing. Just like the Lord of the Rings movies. That's all. I hope that I've pissed off enough people with this video, and if not, then that's also fine. Either way, have a great day, whomever you may be.